But what is going to happen, I believe, is that individual men and women are going to come forth. It's right. I did stand up in the House of Commons and basically say to Putin, hands off the Ukrainian election. That this is the democratic will. But understand something. I had not been briefed to do that by the Department of Foreign Affairs. I had not been briefed to do that by my own Foreign Affairs advisor. The department in Ottawa essentially took a position of hands off. I was briefed to do that by Borys, who was in the Ukraine at the time. Now that's why I did it. And if he hadn't done it to me, I would love to have said to you that I would have done it, but I would not have. It would not have crossed my mind. I would not have understood the issue the way that he explained it to me in a relatively short phone call. Now that is what a person, one man or one woman, can do. The fact is that if you take a look at what Borys has done since he has gone to Ottawa, and I don't say this because he is here, but the fact is that outside of that car, if he's not there, he will be when I go out, there'll be a Maori who will be driving me to the airport. So I've talked to the Maoris. I understand what it was like to open that parliamentary commission on the Maoris' pension. It was a huge thing. I mean, one of the things in Canada we are incredibly proud of is, in fact, the RCMP and what they stand. And their pension fund was violated in ways that are absolutely incomprehensible to me. And the fact is that it would still, that this would have been shoveled under a rug and nothing would have been done for them if it hadn't been for Borys, and the Maoris themselves have said that to me. And I've talked to them. I sit in the car and they talk to them about various things. And they're going to erect a statue to him. At least they're going to make him not pay all his parking tickets and so on. But that's what he did. That is what he did. Yes, I think that what Canada did in terms of the Orange Revolution, what Canada did, the final recognition, and Paul is here, the final recognition in terms of what happened after the First World War in Canada, so much of this is due to the fact that Borys would not let it go. He talked about how the money that we put into the Sudan. Well, I've been to the Sudan, but you know I haven't been to Darfur because when I couldn't go as I was Prime Minister, and he did. The fact is he wasn't supposed to go is irrelevant. The fact is that he did it, and that took enormous courage. Then he went to Somalia. That took enormous courage. It's one thing to talk about those problems. It's another thing to go to Darfur. It's another thing to go to Somalia. It's another thing to basically take your life in your hands. I mean, listen, we saw it. A year ago, there was a Canadian diplomat, Bob Fowler, who was kidnapped. You know, you are over there under some of those countries and you're under there is no protection. Borys did it. He went there because he believed that this is what has to happen. Now that is, in fact, the kinds of courage and the kind of dedication that we must have in our parliamentarians. And it does demonstrate something. And that is that one person, one man or one woman can make a huge difference. And what you're going to require are men or women of great courage who are going to say, look, there may be a short-term political problem here, but there is going to be long-term gain only if we are prepared to confront these kinds of issues. You're going to need men and women of the kind of courage that Borys showed in going to Sudan and going to Somalia. The kind of courage that Borys said when he went to the Orange Revolution. He said, I'm going to call the Prime Minister, and I think you called me. By the way.
It was you called me.
Well, I can tell you, I got the call from my office said Borys wants to talk to you. That's what they said, and I said I'm going to call. But the fact is that kind of thing takes great guts, and that's why we're here tonight. But I'm really glad more than anything else to tell you that I believe very strongly in the parliamentary process. I believe very strongly in our democracy. I believe very strongly in the capacity of men and women to control their own destiny and build a better country and a better future for their children and their grandchildren. When I think of what a parliamentarian can do, I think of Borys, and that's why I'm glad to be here tonight. Thank you so very much.